Hello and welcome to this fireside chat. We are in Rogers, Arkansas. This is Northwest Arkansas. This is the future of supply chain, and this is a fireside chat. I'm excited for our next guest. I have Ron Richardson, Chief Revenue Officer over at Turvo, also joined by Kyle Ingraham as well, President over at AFC Logistics. Gentlemen, I'm excited to have you two here.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. After having a COVID world for a while, it's amazing to be out with peers and colleagues and talking about things in the industry. So really excited to be here.
As you mentioned, there's a lot going on in the industry, so much happening right now. One of the big things, I think we got to chat a little bit. We were chatting a little bit about TMS. It's such a hot topic as of the last 18 plus months. It's really been ramping up. Can you dive into what Agile TMS really means and from the Turvo perspective?
Yeah, sure. So, for so long, companies have struggled with the TMS solutions that they've had in the place. A lot of companies have legacy investments where they've had 5, 10, 15, I've even seen 20 years of technology that's just sitting there and kind of going stale. And so what you've seen in the industry, in the transportation industry, is so much technical innovation has come, disruption has come, the track and trace capabilities have advanced. So much has changed that companies are looking at their TMS investment and trying to figure out how do I seize the opportunity, become more digital, become more collaborative, and really rethink a TMS strategy. And at Turvo, we've been at the forefront of that for a couple of years now and having great success. So to me, an agile TMS means a couple things. It means being able to execute a load with the fewest clicks. So that's key, right? And being able to be extensible. So dynamic pricing solutions, digital load boards, being able to immediately integrate to those and reap the benefit. That's what we mean when we talk about Agile TMS.
And it's such a crucial part because we're talking about this supply chain. Efficiency has been a huge factor. Being timely has been a huge factor. And it's meaning more and more and more. And it's not just a trend. This is the new way of life. I'm not going to say the new normal. I just said it. But this is how we are living now. And it's such a crucial part. Kyle, got to bring you in here because you are a part of that Turvo family. You use their services. What's it like to be a significant brokerage and really be able to be a part of this system?
Absolutely, and thank you again for having me. Thank you, FreightWaves, for putting on a fantastic event. To follow up to what Ron was saying, Turvo and agility and innovation, right? Those are three key words. I've sat through 6 different meetings, met with a lot of different vendors today, and the words innovation and agility just continue to be repeated. And that's what we really loved about Turvo, was having the ability to go with a company to where they partner not only with you, being the vendor and the customer of theirs, but also partner with other third parties that could continue to evolve and build innovation to the space, where there are those legacy TMS options out there that are slower to evolve, or they want to go out and build out the product on their own instead of just saying, hey, this company's really good, let's partner with them. Where Turvo does that really well and continues to evolve, and there's new products rolling out every single quarter.
That's a great point. And you mentioned something there that I was going to ask Ron about, that collaborative aspect. Ron, can you touch on that a little bit more? Because this is not something we see often, or I don't know, ever other than Turvo.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you think about doing work in 2022. What you find is you have to collaborate with people in your company, obviously, but there's so much dependency anymore on collaborating with external entities, right? And when you think about how that plays out in a TMS world, there's a lot of coordination that happens in terms of pulling in orders, being able to just cover the load, tracking that load to a location, perhaps there's a third-party warehouse involved, and then on to final destination, which is the customer. And so being able to communicate with all those parties in a digital way, in a real-time way, is where the innovation is in the industry. Most companies, the reality is it's calls, right? Call from the customer, hey, where's the product? And it sets off a chain of calls. And that happens over and over and over and over again. So if there's a way with technology to to reduce those calls, provide real-time visibility, not just of where a shipment is, where a truck is, but of the whole experience, A to Z. That's where real innovation comes in. And you look at some of the things happening in the federal government with the programs under Pete Buttigieg, right? And at the heart of what he's trying to solve and what the DoD is trying to solve is collaboration. So we are really privileged at Turvo to be at the forefront of that.
And I think that's a great point there. And when we kind of move forward throughout 2022, that only kind of magnifies. I mean, we're here at the future supply chain. There's no shortage of other, these third-party systems, and that's only going to continue to grow as the freight tech space continues to expand. That only makes this that much more important to really be able to be collaborative, be able to bring in so many different sources. Kyle, can you talk to kind of like life pre and life post Turvo, like some of the pain points that you were dealing with that really kind of got alleviated afterwards?
Absolutely. The first one being just legacy technology not wanting to evolve and slow response times, right? And that comes from both the tech as a whole, when someone's trying to actively do something in the system, say build an order at order entry, to where it just is really delayed, convoluted, and takes a lot longer than it should. And that goes all the way through to support on some of the more legacy TMS options as well. From a time frame standpoint, to get an answer, from reaching out and needing to get a quote to have a, piece of technology updated that maybe you've purchased from them, it's slow and expensive. To where with Turvo, you're partnering with them and bringing solutions and ideas, right? That's one of the things that I like the most, and what we've really experienced over the last couple of weeks is that there's a lot of different users that are touching the system. It's not just the same person at the same broker. There are hundreds and hundreds of brokers here. On the sky level, on the high level, we all do a lot of the same stuff. But when you actually really dig into it, the way that my team clicks a button and the way that someone else's team clicks a button might be totally different. So finding a piece of technology like Turvo that can partner with you and you can bring suggestions, but also learn more efficient ways to use the system, that's the best thing there is.
Yeah. And we're talking about, of course, the amount of havoc that's kind of been wreaked over the last 18 months or so. Ron, when you're looking at the solutions that you've been able to help your clients, is there any kind of trend or any specific pain point that you're seeing that really kind of hits a lot of your clients that you can really say, hey, we have this kind of solved for you, we have this wrapped up for you?
Yeah, well, I think it's some really basic things, right? One is fewer clicks, right? When a company is functioning on a legacy TMS solution, a lot of times you've got to do 50, 60 clicks, like human clicks, to just cover a load. So really getting after that and minimizing that number of clicks and enhancing that experience for users, I think is huge. The other thing is integrating third-party applications. Turvo does that extremely well. So what we do is we have a capability to bring in just about any third-party application and bring that data natively into the TMS. So instead of clicking into multiple applications, the user can experience have that whole experience in one unified solution, which is really good.
And Ron, I would say if we go back to when we were doing all the demos, right, that was probably the number one selling point, was the fact that not only could you do more with less clicks inside the system, you're not having 100 tabs open to do something. You don't go back at the end of the day and start closing out your windows and realize, holy cow, I have 50 windows open and I only built 10 loads today. It really allows you to do things much faster. And then with computers nowadays and people working remote on Wi-Fi that might not be as strong as in the office, it allows them to still be able to get their job done.
And Ron, I have a bit of a two-part question here. So first off is going to be around the onboarding process, just getting started. And then the other one is really the scalability. Is it something that's appealing for mid-size, enterprise, small guys? Is it just something that anyone can really kind of make use of?
Yeah, so one of the benefits is, so in terms of the first question, right, which is implementation of the solution, we're SaaS-only solution. So we only exist in the cloud. And we're designed around best practices in the industry. Since we're a single line of code, we learn continuously from every customer we implement, and we find faster ways to get work done, right? So what that means is when we implement, it's very fast, right? It's provisioning an instance in the cloud, it's configuring and doing the integrations needed for the customer, and then really doing some training. So we've been able to get some customers on incredibly quickly. I'll give you a great example. We had a customer who had a pretty significant security breach. And they said, hey, we need to have a new TMS up within a week in order to meet the needs of a particular customer. Our team sprung into action, and we literally had them live in production, covering loads in 7 days. So that was amazing, right? So that remind me of the second part of your question.
Really, who Turvo is for. So if it's a small operation, mid-size, large enterprise.
Yeah, so we have different versions of our software that cover brokers of all sizes, really, 3PLs, as well as shippers. So when it comes to our TMS solution, we've got a solution really for all those different parties. It really comes down to us just coming in and scoping the requirements, understanding the integrations that the customer needs, and putting a mutual game plan together so that we can execute very quickly. But the beauty of all this is when companies get to that point where they say, hey, I'm tired of the legacy cement shoes of my TMS, I need something innovative, we can spring into action and implement very quickly.
And this has been a question I've been really kind of asking everyone, putting everyone on the spot so far. I'll start with you, Kyle. One hot take for the industry over the next 12 or so months.
For a hot take over the next 12 or so months, we've heard a lot about visibility here. We've heard a lot about agility. The biggest thing I would say is make sure that you're partnered with the right partners from a tech standpoint, and you're leveraging them as much as you can, both internally and with customers. Because no matter what happens in the truckload market, whether it continues to go up or continues to decline, you still need to make sure that you have your best operational practices in place.
Ron, what about you?
Yeah, I would say, listening to Governor Hutchinson this morning, this kind of need to create stability in the United States around our supply chains and bringing manufacturing back into the United States, I think it's going to create a lot of opportunity for a lot of companies at this show, right? Not only the people transporting, but the software providers like Turvo as well. So I think you will see a trend towards manufacturing coming back in the States, and I think that's a great thing.
I think it's a great one. I mean, I'm an economist, so when I look at manufacturing, it's one of those segments I just kind of hone in on. So whenever I hear that, I get excited about it. Like, yes, we need more manufacturing, we need more automation, and then there's only going to be more technology that enters that space. So I think that's a great point, and I'm glad you hit on that. You're here today. You're here tomorrow. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so our booth is literally right outside here to the right, about 3 booths down. Yeah.
People get in touch with you as well?
Absolutely. You can reach us at afctransport.com or Kyle Ingraham on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, Kyle, Ron, thank you both so much for joining us for this fireside chat. Thank you, everyone here in Northwest Arkansas. This is the future of supply chain. This has been another amazing fire chat. We'll see you on the next one.